Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm taking the opposite stance of the video that I made the other day where I stated that straps were one of the best pieces of equipment for your gym bag for back training. Today I want to give a bit of the opposite perspective on how straps can actually be a detriment to your progress as a lifter. And then hopefully at the end of watching these two videos, you can find somewhere in between where you understand how straps can have their place in a balanced training program and then apply it in your own way. So for me, as a competitive power lifter, my goal is to be able to deadlift as much as possible. Now, within the rules of a powerlifting deadlift, you have to be able to hold on to the bar without straps and complete the lift that way. So for someone like me, I have to be able to maintain some sort of grip strength so that whenever I go to a powerlifting meet, grip isn't my limiting factor. Now, I do want to say for someone like a strongman competitor, all of their deadlifts are going to be done with straps because in strongman, straps are a legal piece of equipment. And then the same thing kind of goes with bodybuilding where they're not going to care as much about holding on to a certain amount of weight. So using straps can be perfectly fine for them in that way. But I want to kind of say that as a normal person, whether you're a bodybuilder or a strongman or a powerlifter, having a strong grip is going to be a big deal whenever it comes to other movements and being well-rounded in general. So last time I talked about how straps can be very useful when doing movements that put you at a mechanical disadvantage for your grip, such as a snatch grip deadlift, which you'll see here after these sets of conventional deadlifts that I have. And they can also be helpful in movements where you're trying to focus just on back training, right? And you don't want that grip to be a limiting factor. However, right, if you use these straps as too much of a crutch, right? And maybe if I use these straps for my conventional deadlifts every week, my conventional deadlift would get stronger, no doubt. Right? I would build my hamstrings and my back and I would become very strong. But whenever I got to a powerlifting meet, I would potentially fail my deadlifts because my back and hamstrings were so strong that they could pull a weight that my hands were ill-equipped to be able to hold. And there is something to be said also about training the literal skin on your hands to be able to hold a sharp barbell like that, right? If I use straps, like a great example is last year I had a bicep injury on my left side, which is my supinated hand for deadlifting. And I was nervous about flipping my hand for an over-under grip. So for that reason, I trained deadlift with straps for the longest time, probably a solid 8 to 12 weeks, I would call it, because of that injury. That's a great use of straps, but I got to the point where I was stronger on my deadlift with straps than I was without straps. So whenever I made that pivot back into strapless training, I had to take that into account. Now, if you're someone like me who deadlifts 3 times a week, okay, then maybe you only need to use straps 1 or 2 of those times, and then you get your grip training doing the heavy work. Just like I showed you at the beginning of this video, my conventional competition deadlifts I used without straps because they're most specific to my competition movement. And to me, I think that's a good balance. But on the other extreme side, you see people fairly regularly in the gym abuse straps, just like people abuse their belt and kind of use it for extreme things. In my opinion, straps don't really have a place on dumbbell rows or a row machine or even like pull-ups or lat pull-downs, I know there's arguments to be made, and Dr. Mike Israetel is a kind of great proponent of using straps where, hey, if you're doing those movements to build your back, there is an argument to be made there to use the straps so that the hands aren't the limiting factor. I do sit somewhere in the camp, though, of like, I've never seen a detriment to having strong hands in just everyday life. You know, there's something you're constantly working with, and you're going to need them when you're older. So to me, it doesn't hurt to use them as much as possible and kind of build up that strength. That way, as you get older, you know, you still have that base with your hands. And who knows, that might be a bit of a moot point, but I justify it anyway. Okay, so thank you all for listening. Hopefully that gave you some perspective on why straps might not be the best choice for your training. If you haven't, go back and watch the other video where I take the opposite stance. Let me know down below, do you use straps in your training? I am curious. As you can see, I do here and there. Please like and subscribe as always, and until next time, happy lifting.